All right. They use the horse sticks to stir bubbles into Topo Chico.
Imagine horse semen was like.
That's how they carbonate things.
Love me some.
It's certainly carbon based. Allegedly. I want certainly to allegedly. So, what movie are we talking about, Anthony?
The movie we're making watch today is 2009 special movie from Mr. Rob Zombie called The Haunted World of El Super Beasto.
To be clear, this is you making us watch this because I would never have watched this movie. I've never heard of it. And
that's the point of this.
Yeah, that's the point of this podcast, Jake.
I know.
Big middle finger to Jake.
Yeah.
The whole time this movie was on, I was like, oh my god, I love that Jake had to watch this. It makes
Jake's
me happy.
Dude, I hated it so much.
I know you did.
I hated it so much.
What'd you guys think about it? What would you have a word for it? Loathe.
I have several words I could.
Name 3. Go.
Eye roll inducing.
Okay, one more.
Completely unnecessary.
Oh, that's too many words. You're cut off.
Completely unnecessary.
Wildly inappropriate. There'd be the third.
Yeah. Wildly inappropriate. I'll give you that one.
Yeah. I was watching it too, and I was like, ooh.
I never thought I'd get sick of looking at boobs, but there I was, like, all right, this is enough. And this was only
I figured you'd get sick
probably
of
like
boobs
a
at some point.
few minutes in. I was like, this is already absurd and just too much, and it never became better. It was never funny. It was
you didn't laugh a single time.
I don't think I laughed. I actually
minutes you didn't laugh.
Thought that probably, like, I don't know how far time was hard to gauge during this movie because it was so goddamn
it's a
slow.
construct.
And I remember at one point I'm like, I don't think I've laughed this entire time. This probably like made me midway, and I never laughed. It was never funny to me.
Bummer, dude.
Yeah, it was never funny.
I laughed a few times.
I laughed at a lot of the songs. That's probably it. There were some great songs.
Yeah, I could see them being
music, Jake?
I could see them being amused. Like, there was times where I thought maybe some of the songs were amusing, but I don't think I ever like chuckled or emitted any sort of laughter at all. There was a couple times. Okay, there was some of the lyrics were a little silly and a little funny, but after like every character had a song that went on for way too long, I got a little bit like, okay, I get it. This is a one-note movie the entire time. It never engaged me. It never changed tone. It never surprised me. It never really did anything good at all. I was intrigued by the beginning when they were like, when they were doing that little like
breaking my heart.
This is an intro to then so like that little like warning. I thought that was a little clever, and then I liked the opening credits because it was very like old timey cartoon.
Yeah, so it's like 1931 Frankenstein homage.
Yeah. But I was interested for like 3 minutes, and then I was quickly like, no, this is bad. I was taken out, and I was never re-engaged at all.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah. What'd you think of it?
That's a shame, buddy. I think Jay Schwartz. Schwartz, what's your word?
I'm gonna go strangely entertaining.
Yes. I'm gonna say
strange and entertaining.
Offensive.
Yeah, definitely offensive. But honestly, that doesn't make it bad. So I'm in for it.
I don't think it makes it bad either.
No,
so you enjoyed this movie.
This movie was fun to watch. Was it a good movie? No. But
no.
Anything Rob Zombie's ever made is not necessarily a good movie. So I was prepared for that.
Also true.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, do you just hate Rob Zombie in general, Jake?
Hate's a strong word, but I definitely don't like him. I definitely don't like what he. I think I liked his music when I was at an appropriate age to like his music, like
probably around 2009.
A little scrubby 14-year-old kid that was angry for no reason.
Now you're just an adult scrubby guy who's angry for no reason.
I'm not that angry anymore. I just don't like.
You are scrubby.
I never said I wasn't scrubby.
Who are you calling scruffy? Do you think if you watched it in 2009 when it came out, when you were kind of into Rob Zombie, do you think you would have loved it then?
Oh wait, 2009. That would have been no. I would have still been too old. 2009. I would have been like
That's
20
right. You're old as fuck.
something. If it was like 1999 or like something like that, yeah, then. But it was already like past its prime, I think. In design. When did the House of a Thousand Corpses come out? Was that like 2004, something like that? 2005?
Somewhere between
Early
2000
2000, early
2005.
2000s. Yeah.
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 I feel like by then he already here had to have
Early, probably a
worn
little
out.
earlier than 2003, I'd say.
Because House of a Thousand
Yeah.
Corpses was like he came out. It was kind of interesting for what it was. It was different for what it was. But by the
It
time
was
I think
2003.
this shit came out, it's like okay, we get what Rob Zombie is. We get what he does. This is just a cartoon version of his other bullshit movies.
Yeah, but you're seeing. But did you? But I feel like because I saw it back then. I feel like I saw it right when it came out, if not like just shortly after.
As did I, because I loved House of a Thousand Corpses, and Devil's Rejects is definitely his best film.
Yes,
so those movies
I
were
was
really good.
stoked on his movies already. I've loved Rob Zombie. I think I've seen him in concert at this point. And when I heard that he made an adult cartoon in the vein of Ren and Stimpy, and then a bunch of, the actors on this in this is insane. It's got it's got Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life. It's got SpongeBob. It's got all the people that they played in subsequent movies.
I didn't realize that.
John DiMaggio has Elvira, the original fucking Elvira is in it. I mean,
this is the thing. This is the thing about Rob Zombie. Rob Zombie is a fan of horror.
Yes.
Rob Zombie is a fan of everything fucked up. So when you're watching something Rob Zombie or you're listening to something Rob Zombie, it's not for everybody. It's for people who want to be entertained in a sleazy way. And Jake is too proper for that. He's kind of a little bitch.
No, it's just it tries too hard. It almost felt like, all right, you guys get and everyone does. Everyone gets annoyed by things that are like too woke, right? Like overly
Sure.
sensitive to
anything
certain
overly anything.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, this felt the opposite of that. This felt like it was just it was leaning way too hard, and I'm trying to be offensive.
But that's what Rob Zombie does. He's always done that.
That's not only what
I
Rob
don't think
Zombie
that's what his
does.
music is. I think his movies are, but I don't think his music and like
His
performances
music videos
necessarily.
are for sure.
Yeah, I guess so. They're kind of like more of an homages to like those old style of movies, which I guess this cartoon was.
His music is like is outrageous. His music is, and his performances. There's girls dancing in cages, and he's coming out of skulls with a cane and a trench coat, escorted by two more girls. It's insane. It's like watching one of his movies.
I'm throwing this out there right now. This is Sherry Moon Zombie's best performance.
Best performance.
Yeah.
Oh, because she is a cartoon.
Yeah. And
I think
who doesn't like titties, man? I love titties, cartoon titties, whatever. Titties are great.
There are a lot of titties in here. This is like
it was just too much for every single woman.
Heavy metal.
Like
there's no such thing as too many titties, man. That's not a real thing.
I thought that before watching this movie.
And the fact that they come in pairs, generally,
I would have agreed with you yesterday if you said that. But after seeing this, I was like, this is too much. Like
I want to be mayor of Titty City, man.
I know you do, bud, but
you want to be the robot. You want to be Brian Posehn.
Dude, how about Rosario Dawson? She was great.
All of those things were
Rosario
so
Dawson doing like who's doing her best Cardi B.
Yeah, Rosario Dawson was
hilarious.
Great. And fucking Paul Giamatti, one of the OG greats, as Dr. Satan. Come on.
Yeah.
You don't like Paul Giamatti?
Every scene he was like jerking off in. It was just like, all right, I get it.
Yeah, he jerked off a couple times. But going back to the woke thing, I think this movie might have been the reason. This was not a swing. This was not an answer to wokeness. There was no such thing as wokeness. Really, this is definitely pre like woke as we know it. So I would say, if anything, this is where woke started to come from. Was this kind of but this like Short said, this is Rob Zombie at his finest, and he had a blast doing this. It seems, and it shows, and he worked on it for many years while he was working on Halloween movies, and
this is based off a comic book he created.
This is based off a comic book that he did. Would he do it in high school? Was that what I read?
I don't know about that. All I know is based off a comic book that he created, which when he became a famous musician, he was able to do whatever the fuck he wanted, which is why he got to make movies.
In a filmmaker, yeah.
He could do whatever the hell he wants, you know.
It's funny that you say that about the woke thing, because I think I had that thought because of those types of overly woke thoughts were like entering my head, and I'm like, I usually don't care, but it's just like, I was like thinking like, well, this is objectifying to women. This movie feels pretty racist.
Is offensive
like I was
today,
like, that shit
sure.
jumped my head, and I'm like, nah,
well, let's see, being objectifying women and being racist and being everything, it's always been offensive. It's just nowadays people are woke, so to say. So right now it's like, and I'm not justifying anything in this movie as being right or good or anything like that, but I do separate it from life. I enjoy watching fucked up things, filthy things. Like I don't mind that. It's entertainment. It's part of the fun of watching things. I'm not gonna go out there and fucking do anything that it represents, but I'm not gonna fucking shut it down. You know what I mean?
But it just felt like it was being like crammed down our throats. Like it never let up.
Have you seen House of a Thousand Corpses? Have you seen Devil's Rejects? That is the same thing.
Yeah, you're right, and that's probably why
House of a Thousand Corpses is over
House of a Thousand Corpses. I was interested initially because it was something new and fresh, but by the time, what was it?
House of a Thousand Corpses is just Texas Chainsaw Massacre for a new generation.
Three from Hell is the final of the trilogy.
Yeah, the other one?
I've never seen that.
The one you
Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, by the time that was out, I was kind of like, man,
that movie's great. That is Rob Zombie's best movie as a filmmaker. Like that, like the House of a Thousand Corpses was him like trying to get everything he could out into a movie that he loved. But Devil's Rejects was honestly like really, really, really good. Like it was a crime movie. It wasn't a horror movie. It was like, and there's so many offensive things in Devil's Rejects. Like just the way that they treat each other, the way that women are represented, the way that even men are represented. It's not good, but you're not going to see a Rob Zombie movie for anything but that. Like you people are going for that. Like they're going to find it offensive. They're going to find it fucked up.
He is like he comes from 80s hair metal. He comes from that war, like that type of that Guns N' Roses, but
sure, he probably loves Guns N' Roses.
I'm just saying, Guns N' Roses,
Motley Crue.
That's what I was thinking. He comes from the world of Motley Crue type of. Have you ever been to a Motley Crue show?
No, but I fucking hate. I hate hair metal. I hate all those bands. I hate all of that. But I do like Rob Zombie music because I think heavy metal is better than hair metal any day.
Sure. Sure, I'm just saying that certainly he was a fan of and that's where 100%. He gets his. That's where a lot of his inspiration.
He loves the mentality of rock stars doing rock star things, being fucked up, doing all that shit. And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that that's right, but I'm also not saying that I can't watch that and be entertained by it because obviously I am.
This movie's ridiculous. It's about a washed-up actor / luchador who's now a porn star, also vigilante, played by Tom Papa,
with a sister who's killing Nazis, which was awesome.
Yeah, who he seemingly doesn't actually do anything good, but his sister, Susie X. Susie X.
Well, Anthony, what's your word? Oh, you said your word. Actually, you said it was vulgar,
offensive.
Right? Offensive. Yeah.
But in a good way, in a way.
Exactly.
There's not number one. You gotta, if you're gonna be offensive, you can't be like woke is an answer to racism. This is not racist. There are some racial jokes in here. But this is not. This is offensive to everyone, and it's offensive in a comedic way, which always gets a pass in my head.
Yeah,
I find it funny though.
And this is pre. He probably couldn't get away with this today, even though this was
this wasn't even released. So I think if it's Rob Zombie, he probably still could, and it wouldn't get.
Where would it be released? It's not coming out on Netflix.
No, I think this will come out on Netflix actually, because I really do. Because Netflix kind of does let their people do their thing. I mean, they support Dave Chappelle for doing all his shit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Listen to this is the thing. Rob Zombie isn't being malicious in any way with this movie. This isn't a malicious movie.
That's the point. It's offensive, but it's not mean.
It's offensive, but it's not malicious. Like B movies, grindhouse movies, fucking Italian slasher films in general, they're the same thing. They're for people who like fucked up shit. And I'm here for it, man. I'm all about it.
I mean, I get his style. I can appreciate his style, but the writing wasn't good. Like,
The writing's not supposed to be good, though.
the
You're not going.
stories aren't good.
What do you
This isn't
mean?
a fucking
What do
David
you mean?
Mamet movie. This is a fucking movie about.
Satan is trying to marry his unholy bride, who's marked with the number of the beast, who's Rosario Dawson,
Yeah, maybe
Academy
on paper
Award
it sounds good.
nominated Rosario Dawson. Maybe.
I'm not sure she was. Already.
I don't know that to be a fact. And Super Beasto's in love with her also and has to save her. What's wrong with that? And in the meantime, for some reason, there's Nazi zombies and everything has a theme song. Do you hate musicals? Do you hate Chris
No, I don't
Hardwick?
hate musicals.
Chris Hardwick, the hilarious Chris Hardwick, a lot in a lot of Rob Zombie movies.
Mhm.
Back in the Disney, wrote and sang all the songs with his.
I know that.
He has I can't remember what the name of his group is, and the name of the group is Hard and Firm.
There it is. Hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was Hard and something.
Yes.
Because Hardwick, and then what was the other dude's name? Like Mark Furman. I think.
Furman. Yeah. Something.
Yeah.
Like that. Great. What were you
Yeah, I
saying?
mean, it sounds funny, but it wasn't.
Did you not? Did you like Did you appreciate the animation?
The animation was great. The animation was really cool.
I would say that's probably the tops of the whole thing.
I
Sure. Do you know
other
who
than
drew it
the
too?
acting.
I felt
What else
like
did they
I
draw?
did it first, but I got a little bit bored of it because it got a little bit it got too Ren and Stimpy for me, where it would just be
It
like the
is.
backgrounds would get all crazy because it was Ren and Stimpy meets heavy metal, basically.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I believe it was they were animators from Ren and Stimpy. I don't think it
I
was
think
like the
so.
animators of
So
Ren
do
and
you
Stimpy.
not
but it was-
like Ren and Stimpy either?
I liked Ren and Stimpy at the age that it was targeted to me for.
Jake, do you just not like?
But
fun and,
I feel like I've
nostalgia?
watched recent Ren and Stimpy that like they made more adult. And I don't know, they released it somewhere a few years ago. Maybe it was Netflix, maybe it was somewhere else. But I remember them releasing new Ren and Stimpy, and I'm like, well, this is not.
You're a little too PC for me, man. I don't know if we could be friends anymore.
This
How
movie
about-
makes people PC.
None of us are friends. How about just the homages to horror?
Oh,
There
that's
were
what I want to talk
countless.
about mostly. Like in the beginning scene when he goes to the nightclub, there were so many homages to horror in that movie.
Countless.
All the original Theories horror movies, Jack from The Shining, a bunch of
Cthulhu.
Lovecraft, a bunch of
Cthulhu's
Lovecraft monsters.
The
Yeah,
bartender, Miss
Yeah.
Frankenstein, Edward Scissorhands, the aliens there.
yeah, it was awesome.
Just a bunch of unoriginal bullshit.
Creature
it
from the
seems
Black
like.
Lagoon is going down on Mrs. Frankenstein.
Jake,
was
just
kinda
because
funny.
people
See-
use their fandom for things doesn't mean that they're not original. Like they're using. That's like saying Tarantino's not original. Tarantino is not original anyway. If that's what you're saying.
Well, Tarantino executes things well. And maybe
Yeah, but he's
uses
not
it on
original.
purpose,
This is
doesn't
Not
executed
original. There's
well.
no originality.
Eh,
You got to say you can't say this is not executed well when it comes to just the animation and the acting. I mean, it was good.
All right,
You
let
just
me
Oh, God.
reverse my
I
statement real
think it
quick. Let me
was
reverse my
good.
statement real quick. Quentin Tarantino is original because he takes what he loves and makes it in his own way. So he is original, and I don't want to disrespect Tarantino because I love Tarantino. But the thing is that you can't.
we almost had him on
Sorry.
too. Then he heard
Sorry,
you
Tarantino.
say that shit
you
earlier.
can't love
like, never
Tarantino
mind.
and say that people can't use things that they love because Tarantino steals everything. Like there's shot for shot in his movies. There we can
Sometimes, yeah.
call them out. Like
Yeah,
every
we
one
saw
of
that
his
with The
movies,
Graduate.
like
yeah.
oh De Palma, oh Sergio Leone, oh The Graduate, oh like anything. Like it is that. Like and every filmmaker does that. You know what I mean? They take what they love, they take what they know, and they make it as much as theirs as they can. That's like kind of the point.
But I don't know. I guess it was because he was just so repetitive with it. It was just reference after reference, and then this, and then just the dick humor,
But it
and the
was-
tit humor. And it just never really went anywhere for me.
It did
Like-
it in a self-aware way. It was doing
Mm-hmm.
it on purpose. It wasn't like it wasn't in your face because he thought it was clever. he
It
he
seemed like
runs
that's
over
exactly what it
runs
was.
over Michael Myers at one point. El Super Beasto is racing off to help his sister Susie Susie X because she just got Hitler's head in a jar, and he runs over his beloved Michael Myers. Do you think that he ran over Michael Myers? Do you think he killed Michael Myers because he knows how much people hate his Michael Myers?
Were these before that or after that? Was this before that or after that?
I think
I think that would have been before.
He was working on those while he was doing this. That's why this didn't come out till 2009. But I don't know for sure.
Yeah, because those were like 2006, 2007 time, right?
Yeah, something like that. I want to say it was a few years before.
Because he wanted this to come out 2000. I want to say 2003 or 2006, and he had to wait because he was so busy. Oh yeah,
I didn't really. I guess
started
I didn't think
06.
I didn't think much into the self-referential of him killing Mike Myers in that sense. That's kind of clever.
Because you don't think he's clever as he is.
Maybe.
I
didn't think about it. I like that
on
thought,
Zombie's name.
All right. My other complaint is
Give my wife's name.
it barely had anything to do with wrestling.
Oh yeah. Well, he was a wrestler.
He was like a former wrestler, and I kind of liked the nod to those type of wrestling. Like there's a whole. Are you aware of like the whole lucha libre genre of movies?
Fucking tell us, bro.
There's kind of
wasn't that all his buddies with because Danny Trejo, wasn't that one of his he went to his old lucha libre friends, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So,
okay, my bad. Go ahead, tell me.
Some reference. Yes, you're right. They were the lucha guys, and those were other references because there's like this guy named Santo and another dude named Blue Demon. They have movies that like the movie titles are like Blue Demon versus blah blah blah, or Blue Demon in the Fist of Death, or
have you seen these movies?
El Santo. They're not very good, but
are they in the vein of this type of movie?
They're in the vein of this type of movie. Yes.
Well, then what the fuck are we talking about?
Like I guess I'll go back on that. Jesus. Maybe there are some.
Are you
references that
are you Shyamalaning us right now? At the end of this, you're gonna be like, "That's why this is number 1 on my list,
ranked number 12."
No, what I mean by that is like, why are you so like shocked and disappointed that this movie was what it was when you know who Rob Zombie is and you know what that represents?
I just don't think I guess there are references I appreciate, but I just don't think that anything was executed very well. Like I was never really entertained.
I was never not entertained.
Yeah, like
it was an hour.
I was more annoyed by it.
Minutes.
It was fun.
All right. I'm glad you guys had a good time.
Why? What did you like about this, Jake? Was there anything you enjoyed?
Maybe the wrestling references. But
I think there were
the very few there were. I enjoyed those moments.
Did you buy this movie?
No, I'm glad I
rented
it because I rented it. Yeah,
good for you.
Glad I went that route.
Well, fucking A,
Not
man.
that it was either $3 or $8. I went with the $3 route, and I'm glad because I'm not gonna.
You don't like Paul
watch
Giamatti,
this movie over again. I like the people that are in it. I feel like I'm disappointed in Tom Papa because
I'm disappointed in you, Jake.
Credit as the screenwriter. It was written by a Zombie and Tom Papa. So it says. So
I know, and I
for
think
the audience out there who don't know, and myself who don't know, who's Tom Papa?
He's a stand-up comedian.
Okay, what is he known for? Anything I would know?
Telling jokes on stage while standing up.
And baking bread.
Yeah, also true. He's in podcasts.
Pretty sure he has a he's a bread baking podcast, sourdough podcast.
For those that aren't watching, Schwartz just got so mad he left because we didn't describe Tom Papa well enough.
Who's Tom Papa? And then left.
And I made a joke because the guy tells jokes, and then Schwartz is just so angry he stormed off.
So
I'm angry, but I haven't left this whole time. I'm not angry, just joking.
This movie's silly. This movie's offensive. This movie is crass.
Yeah.
But you don't find it enjoyable.
No, I didn't. I thought it was super, just because it was so like the same thing over and over again.
What do you mean? What was the same thing?
Just like, oh, there's boobs again, and that's trying to be like, and
dude,
then,
hates boobs.
There's another boner. Oh, there's like it just keeps doing the same joke.
But the story moved on.
It did, but like the story wasn't really all that great. It just was what it was.
Damsel in distress.
It's not supposed to have a great story. It's supposed to
tale as old as time.
You're supposed to watch it and just have fun. It's supposed to just be something that you're like, you know what I mean? This is fun.
You
This
don't
is
like
cool.
fun?
I just think it's weird that an argument
hate
for you
boobs?
is like, you don't need a good story. Like
It's a fucking animated
a
movie
good
called The Haunted
story
World of El Super Beasto.
is
If
part
we were
of a
watching,
movie.
it is. It is a part
And
of
also
certain
calling it not
movies.
good is just your opinion, man. Like it's a
True.
fun, it's a tale, it's a story that's been told over and over again. It's classic. He put his spin on it, which is extremely zombified.
Bro, Hitler's head was in a jar. Come on.
And it talked like this. It was hilarious. Which why was what was the whole point in Hitler and the Nazi zombies? That was just something that
I think Rob
Susie
Zombie
X
just likes it.
That's just something Susie X was dealing with while
Yeah.
during this time.
It seemed like it was another nod to himself with the Werewolves of the SS, the trailer from Death
yeah.
Proof.
Yep.
So that was another thing I thought.
He packed a lot of zombie shit in this movie, and I liked it. It was a cartoon. It was fun. I love the idea, especially again when it came out. I was stoked. My buddy was like, "Hey man, borrow my DVD of this. It's hilarious. It's written by Rob Zombie." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "It's a cartoon that he made when he was a fucking kid or whatever. And I wrote on a comic book, made it into a movie, and it's crazy." And when I watched it in 2009. That's exactly what it was. It was like just enjoying, good God, Schwartz, what are you eating? Enjoying Rob Zombie for exactly what I expected, what I wanted, and what for what it was. And I think I will say that I have a nostalgia thing attached to it, I guess. I have a lot of great memories of like Halloween in general, the time of year, not his movies. But also watching House of a Thousand Corpses, and I don't know. I have a lot of fun memories regarding Rob Zombie and his movies. So that's another reason why this movie works for me. You were out fucking playing hacky sack and listening to Fish. So I get it.
Exactly.
True.
I guarantee you, if there was a movie based on something of that nature, Anthony and I would both hate it, and you'd be like, "This is the coolest movie ever." We'd be like, "There's no storyline." It doesn't need a storyline, bro. It's cool.
I hate a lot of movies. There's no storyline to like Out in the Wilderness or that fucking what's his name movie.
Oh, Into the Wild.
Into the Wild.
That's true. That's
No
true.
fucking storyline of that. It's your favorite movie of all time. Kid just wanders around and dies.
That's true.
Should make us watch 127 hours. That guy liked fish in that movie.
That's a good movie.
Good
I
His
like that
character
movie.
liked fish, and he got trapped under a boulder.
Wait,
And
what?
then that's the movie. 127 hours.
No, what is your connection with liking fish?
That's that he liked fish. That his character likes fish in the
Yeah.
movie.
And then that's why he got stuck. Thought it was because he was
I mean,
biking, which you like to do.
He was doing all sorts of stuff, listening to
Yeah.
fish,
Yeah.
climbing, swimming, biking,
Maybe he was
all
on
fun
drugs.
stuff. Maybe. And then boom, boulder. Poor guy.
I like this movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. And I think that's probably where it like begins and ends. It's a fun movie. I'm glad nobody
Exactly.
described it as fun, but it's
I'll-
bubble gum for the mind.
That was my first word, but it was just too easy.
Fun,
So,
fun, fun.
Anthony, what's the movie's about? You want to tell us? So give us a little stroll through.
Yeah, it's
No.
we kind of described it. It's about a superhero named El Super Beasto, kind of washed up. He's an actor. I'm not sure how he comes across Rosario Dawson. How did he come across?
He was doing the casting job. Then he's like, "Well, can't find anyone. Time to go to the titty bar."
That's
and then
right.
she
He
was a-
went.
she
She
was a
was.
stripper
She.
there.
Yes.
And then he wanted
Velvet
to
Von
cast her.
Black is
Yeah.
is her name. She was pretty trashy stripper slash what's the rapper girl's name? This
Cardi B.
Cardi B-esque, which is way before Cardi B, right?
Oh yeah.
I
So
guess.
I was listening to her. I was like, this is straight up Cardi B. Back then, I didn't think about it. Anyway, he falls in love with her. She has the mark of the beast, Dr. Satan, who ends up being Steve Wazowski, a friend of his, or Wachowski, friend of his from a kid he bullied in high school, who's also in love with his sister, Susie X, who's fighting Nazi zombies.
Susie X is the best character in this fucking movie. She's awesome.
Susie X has a robot played by Brian Posehn. Susie X is played by Shamu Zombie. Brian Posehn plays the robot who turns into all kinds of vehicles that she can ride.
She built him, right?
Yeah. And he's also madly in love with her.
Yeah.
A lot of
And
robot boners.
There's a lot of robot dicks. There's a lot of Susie tits. There's a lot of everything. It's great. It's great. It's insane. It's outrageous. She kicks ass. She has her own theme song, again, all performed and written by Hard and Firm. They meet up at some point. He calls her on the phone. They got to go fight Dr. Satan to get Rosario Dawson, who is now being held hostage by her and her crazy ape, or Dr. Satan and his crazy ape, who has a screw on his head and makes him smarter and dumber. I mean, it's kind of just a lot of shit. There is a storyline. There's a damsel in distress. He's going to save the girl, and he does at a certain point. And do they fall in love? I'm not sure what happens at the end.
I think so. Wait,
There's a lot of iconic scenes.
Von Black ends up with the gorilla.
This is Von Black ends up with and she just controls his screw because she makes him dumb because she just wants to get fucked all day.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of just insane scenes in this movie. I think that's what it is more than anything. It's kind of like it was kind of like, what's that animated movie we just watched? The other one?
Spirited Away.
Spirited Away.
I really can't compare these two.
Spirited Away was much better than that.
In that, yes, there's a storyline, but also there's just a lot of iconic scenes. And I'm not saying it's as iconic, but if you love this movie, you'll remember the iconic scenes in it. Like Hitler's head in a jar, or the robot boners, or, El Super Beasto, and it's not a great movie, but
I am surprised you picked this movie only because you've said to me before that I've picked movies that weren't worth watching. I don't agree with that because I think even if you don't like the movie, or even think the movie's trashy, or even if you don't like what's in it, they're still worth watching because certain people like them. And like I said, I love this movie, but this definitely falls in the category of Cannibal Holocaust or Bad Lieutenant when it comes to the movies we picked. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's right down there with them. If we were still ranking movies, it would be right down in that bottom three with those.
We
two
don't
movies.
have to stop ranking. I ranked it on my little list.
But Anthony, don't you agree with my statement though? Like, don't you agree with that?
With what? That this is not worth watching?
No, it is worth watching. But you said things like Cannibal Holocaust and the Bad Lieutenant.
I never said Cannibal Holocaust wasn't worth watching.
Okay, well, I think this.
I think I did.
I think for sure, Jake.
That was probably me, and I think this movie was not worth watching, and I think those other movies weren't worth watching.
You know what I said about Cannibal Holocaust is I don't think it was a necessary movie to make. That's what I said.
Yeah,
but once it's made, you might as well watch it.
There was at least some. There was.
Are you saying this is better than Cannibal Holocaust?
Behind.
I mean, Cannibal Holocaust is better than this.
I was debating that in my head earlier because like there's this interesting story behind Cannibal Holocaust, but then there's just the ultimate part of them just killing animals for the entertainment sake, which kind of just immediately makes the bottom. But there's at least something like more iconic and more worthwhile about Cannibal Holocaust, for at least for conversation's sake.
I think that's silly.
Think this movie just
for conversation's sake. I don't know. I guess.
And I think it was probably more influential for sure than this movie will be to anyone.
I can't argue that.
Yeah, sure. But I think I would say Rob Zombie is more influential than either of those movies in general, which might make this movie more influential than that.
Well, the dude who directed
Cannibal Holocaust?
No, the other one. Bad Lieutenant, Abel Ferreira. He's made like 20 films that people love, and he gets really big actors to be in them, like Willem Dafoe's in like 10 of them, and a lot of people are in them. So I think that Abel Ferreira as a filmmaker, he's kind of like a underground kind of filmmaker.
Just talking about Cannibal Holocaust.
Well, okay. Cannibal Holocaust is definitely an influential movie, and that's why I
agree.
Because for as fucked up as it is, and it's either you hate it or love it, but it's still a movie people talk about, and it's going to be considered one of the most shocking and represented movies ever. Like
I agree
many
that
people
movie will be
love that
remembered
movie.
more than this movie.
Yeah,
I agree.
that movie will be remembered
But
more than most movies we've watched.
This movie's was not made for the same purposes. This movie was made
sure.
because he had a fucking fun thing that he used to do. He used to scribble on a notebook and draw these fucked up characters, and he liked this fucked up style, and he had the money and he did it. And he did it. He made this movie for him. He didn't make this movie for anybody else. He doesn't give a fuck if he liked this movie. He made this movie because he wanted to make this movie. And just like, you know, like you build Legos, like you're not building Legos for someone else. You're building Legos because you like Legos.
There's a fan base out there for this movie. People,
and I'm on it.
Me too. I've
love
watched
this movie.
It's like the third or fourth time I've seen this movie.
You sick fucks.
It's supposed to be bad.
How does that make something good?
How does
I don't
it
know.
make it
That's
bad,
a
though?
argument
Purposely
before.
making something bad. Why is that good?
That argument just bounces between the three of us.
This is Jake. Just because it's not written well, or it's not
Just because it's not good doesn't make it bad.
It doesn't make it unentertaining.
He's making it for himself. He's not. He didn't make it bad.
Oh, I agree
he's
with you
making
there.
something that he enjoys,
Yeah,
and
this was
he
an
doesn't.
audience of one.
Maybe, and I don't think he would care. But luckily, there's billions of people in this world, and somebody will like it. He's like, I think, and that's the purest form of art. If you can make something that you love doing and you enjoy, and put it out in the world, who gives a shit? Somebody will like it, and when they do, that's the people that matter for that art. And
do you know what I love?
What
I love about this whole argument about like what's good and what's not good, and if it's bad, is it good? If it's good, if it's bad, is Jake's favorite filmmaker, the dude who he's got posters of behind him, who's arguably one of the best filmmakers of all time, is a huge fan of all these B movies that Jake hates. And he's going to have a podcast just about those movies. And he's made these movies, and he loves movies. Like, the thing about liking movies and loving movies is that you can like movies less or like movies more, but to say you hate any movie is kind of dumb. Like, movies are made for particular reasons, and whether you like the story or hate the story or think it's good writing or think it's bad writing, like, there's people that are going to disagree with you on that. And just because you love fucking Pulp Fiction because it's one of the greatest written movies of all time doesn't mean you can't love a movie that's not really greatly written. You know what I mean? It's like there's not. It's not A or B. It's not just a fucking line where you have to draw. You know what I mean? Sorry, but I'm right. So
you ain't wrong.
I know.
You're wrong.
I know I'm not wrong.
I think you're allowed to not like a movie. I think you're not. Music was kind of a big thing when I thought this originally, and it extends to probably any form of art. Is you can't say something's bad unless you're a fucking expert in that field. Sure. You can't say, and it just stems from the attempt on my part of trying to do the things that I've talked shit on before, and the outcome that I have, which is just complete dog shit a lot of the times. And I realize, oh man, this is hard. Like, if you just finished a movie, that's pretty fucking impressive alone, you know, like that's really cool. And then B, if like it turns out good, that's even better. And then C, if people like it, like other people like it, ooh boy, that's a win. And
you're preaching, baby.
This a win, man. This movie's a win because you know what? Somebody liked it, and I'm that somebody.
Just think of how many movies are produced every year, hundreds, and how many do you actually hear about? 20 to 30.
But you're allowed to hate a movie. I think you're allowed to say you hate a movie. Like I think I'm saying the same thing as you. I think I'm just saying it in different words. I agree. I fucking agree. Fuck you, Jake. You're out.
I didn't like it.
You didn't like the movie.
Did I say I hated it? Did I ever say that?
No.
Did you hate it?
I don't think I hated it, but it was really bad.
Okay.
Did you like the last song? Cock
I
soup,
remember.
cock salad, or whatever. That was funny.
My favorite song was
just kept kind of going on and on.
My favorite song was the one where they made fun of the writer's strike. He's like,
yeah,
because this was made during the writer's strike. They're like, God damn, this stupid script. Is this what's gonna happen next?
It was the end
when
because the end he just like pulled out so in the end he meets Dr. Satan, he turns into Satan, they're fighting, and then he like pulls out a book and was like read from the book and killed Satan. And that's when they were like, the writer's strike is over. You gotta figure something better than this out.
Yeah.
That the songs were great. I think I could see how they could get a little silly and even annoying because there's a lot of times where it's literally just describing verbatim what's happening on screen. But I think that the theme songs were excellent. I think Susie Q's song was awesome. I think the why'd you have to rip off Carrie? I think that song was pretty cool when they were ripping off Carrie.
He's like, did you ask Stephen King or De Palma?
You didn't like any of that, Jake, huh? Okay. Well, that's fine. Do you like Tom Papa? Do you like sourdough bread?
Let me ask you this: what is Tom Papa like? Would I know him from any movie or anything, or is he just strictly?
He's a comedian.
He's a comedian. I don't know.
If you like comedy, you'd probably like Tom Papa.
Yeah, there's some specials out there. He
has
on podcasts. He's probably
is he offensive? Is he an offensive guy?
No, he's actually very clean.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or fairly clean.
It just didn't really seem Tom Papa like.
No, and that's why it was
Tom Papa probably likes Rob Zombie.
I think Tom Papa elevated this movie in the comedic way. I think there was a lot of funny things and a lot of the way he was hilarious all the time. And I don't I think you had to, and there was a lot of comedians in here, but I think Tom Papa added that to it, which in turn made it better, but you didn't like it.
I thought about if they made this a live action movie.
Talking to a rock right now.
How great The Rock would be if he played this role.
Oh my God.
If The Rock played this role.
I could see that.
He'd be great. He might get nominated for an Oscar if he played this role.
Yeah.
John Cena could do it too.
Hell yeah, he could.
John Cena's the man.
John Cena is very funny.
Did you guys watch Peacemaker? It's pretty fucking
great.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. Yeah. I think John Cena's comedic delivery is better than The Rock's.
I agree with you on that.
Like Rock's more like believable in like those action type movies, and he is funny at times. But fucking Cena's
John Cena's hilarious.
His comedic timing is so on.
But can he sing?
Probably.
The Rock can sing, dude. Have you ever seen Moana?
I mean, I don't know. I'm sure John Cena
Not
can
seen
sing.
Watch Moana, dude.
Figure it out.
Or at least, or just listen to Your Welcome.
I do know what you're talking about. It's like him and a little girl, right?
Tom Papa has a live in New York on Netflix Bash.
Okay.
Check it out, dude. You might like him. And I'm pretty sure he has a podcast or a YouTube show about baking bread. Sourdough bread.
Getting baked with Papa.
Yeah, getting baked with Papa or something like that.
I don't think I just made that up, but
that's a great name. If it's not
a good name, right?
All right. Well, I mean, we could just throw this on the bottom of the list if we want.
What's up with those stickers, dude?
Oh, they come in on Thursday. New sticks on Thursday.
You gonna mail them to me house?
No, I'll give them to Jake in Atlantic City, and then he can distribute them to you.
All right.
Right, that works.
I guess. I mean, it'll take longer, but for sure.
I'm out to Jersey.
I'm gonna mail them to you, Mexico.
No, send them to my house in LA.
My house in LA.
When do you guys leave for New Jersey? I can't believe you guys are going to Atlantic City, dude. That's so awesome. You guys are gonna love it.
Cool.
All those slimy girls running around.
This sounds like post podcast conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll talk about slimy afterwards.
Well, I ranked about this movie.
I ranked it. Do you guys want to put it on the list?
Are we still ranking movies?
I don't care.
We're ranking.
I would have given this movie 0 stars out of whatever.
Yeah, how many stars? You got any stars?
I'm going. If I go out of 5 stars, this is a 0 out of 5 stars.
What did your ranking fall on, Anthony?
I'm looking for it right now. Stand by.
Maybe half a star. I'll give it a half a star. I don't want to give it.
If we're going out of 5 stars, I'm going 2.5.
I mean, I gave it I do it out of 10, and I gave it
10.
pretty. So and it's pretty down there as well.
We're going at a 10 then. All right, I'm giving it a 10. I'm giving it a 5.
Give
I
it
give it a 1.
5
1
out of
star.
10.
Yeah, 5 out of 10.
1.
1 star.
1 star.
That's
I don't even-
rude.
I don't even know what the one. I'm almost giving it a half.
So let me ask you this: if you don't have to do it if you want, but like for the animation, what we'll call the cinematography animation? What would you give it, Jake?
Out of 10?
Yeah,
9.
Half a star.
9.
What?
Point?
I'll give it 9 out of 10 for animation.
Okay. Acting, the voices.
8 out of 10 for the voices.
None.
0? You can't
0.
give it a 0. It's a 1 out of 1 through 10.
I found the voices offensive.
I find your voice offensive in your
Um,
face.
Well,
Well, I'm gonna give it another 0.5 then. You can't just give it a 0. The music.
I'm gonna go 7.
Can't do those voices in 2022.
Music.
Music 0.5 stars.
Jesus, Jake, you're not even fun. The story, the writing.
2.
0.
All right. Okay. I do an enjoyment number.
I'm gonna go 7.
It's another 0 for me.
God damn it. All right, cool. Yeah. We got Schwartz, you got a 4.9, and Jake, you got a 2.
2.
2. Average.
So I was right. I said 5 out
Oh
of
wait,
10.
no.
So mine
I'm
is 3.
sorry. I'm
Should
sorry.
be like
I
a
fucked up.
1
Yeah,
or
yeah,
a 0.5 or something.
yeah. I fucked up.
That because I only gave it like a 0.5 in
There
like
you
2
go.
categories.
0.3. Jake, you got a
0.3.
0.3, and Schwartz, you actually got a 6.4.
Oh wow, that's
Wow.
probably higher than I would actually rank it, but that's fine.
Numbers don't lie.
Math doesn't lie.
And I had more to it, but here, I'll average mine out to everybody else's. And I gave it a 5.1. Cool. If we just go off of that, which is obviously very kind of rush and go, but whatever. That's fun. It's a fun way to do it. Cool. El Super Beasto. I'm sorry you hated it, Jake, but I'm glad you watched it.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm so glad you watched it. And watching this movie and knowing how much Jake hated it, I picked another one he's gonna hate for my next pick.
Super.
Let's hear it. 2 in a row.
Is it my
for-
pick? Is this
No,
my pick?
it's-
Or
Oh,
is it
also
Jake's pick?
Tyler
it's mine
Bates
this time.
did a lot of the other music for it, like the scoring for it.
Who's Tyler Bates?
Dawn of the Dead,
Indulge me.
300, Sucker Punch, both the Halloweens that he did. He did the John Wick movies. I'm pretty sure he did all the Fast and Furious movies.
He composed them?
Yeah,
Cool.
Tyler Bates. That was my last thing snippet for hardcore Johnny Bravo. You guys remember Johnny Bravo?
I do. I like Johnny Bravo.
A little bit.
But you hated this movie.
What did Jake watch when he was a kid? Was he watching like infomercials at night instead of cartoons or what?
Jake read books.
I mean,
Not
that's
really.
fine. Jake doesn't read. He skims.
I probably watched a lot of like Nick at Night stuff, like old, like I Love Lucy, shit like that.
God, that explains
Oh,
so
yeah,
much.
it
And I'm not
kinda
even
does.
saying
I mean, I
I'm not even
watched
saying
that too,
stuff's
but
bad. Yeah, that
It's
stuff's
just-
not
it's
bad.
just very wholesome.
But you're just so wholesome, dude.
Yeah, maybe.
God damn.
Jake's
I
not
watched,
fucking
like-
wholesome though. He's
I-
he's not wholesome. He just has like this kind of woke thing that he does a lot.
God, I hate this woke
Yeah,
thing.
Jake's not wholesome.
I-
I've
I'm
heard
al-
Jake
I-
say
it's-
some
I just-
fucked up
I
shit.
I reacted to this movie in that way. It just pushed
Were
me
you
in the other
triggered by
direction.
this movie?
No, I wasn't triggered. I was just kind of like,
There was no meat eating in this movie at all.
Dude, there were a few things in this movie though that I could see how people could get offended at. Like there were a few there were little rapey vibes at points. There were stuff like that that I definitely wasn't in there for. Like I'm not for that, but like I can see why people would get mad at this movie. So I'll give it that. You know, this movie's definitely not PC. But again,
No,
I'm not supporting anything.
I don't think that argument would have ever been made for it either.
But it doesn't offend me personally. So I'm cool with it. Like if you get offended by art, you got to rethink your fucking life. You really do.
Sure. I don't know if I was like personally offended. I was just like, that doesn't seem, just more like that doesn't seem right. Like that's
sure, and you can think
up.
that, but do you think Rob Zombie is thinking that he's trying to go out there raping people? I don't think he does. I don't think Rob Zombie wants to kill anybody either. But does he find it entertaining? Yes. And you know what? I'm with
So
him.
does Tarantino.
Exactly.
Tarantino.
It's art, man.
He does it more than anybody else.
Tarantino makes fucked up things, man. Most women do not like Tarantino.
It's just his execution's very much. I don't know, just much better. Zombie is just too much like. This movie especially was just too like
different execution. Quentin Tarantino's a great director. Newsflash.
And also Rob Zombie, rock musician.
Exactly. Who makes movies because he can.
Because he has the money.
Rob Zombie's never going to make a movie like Pulp Fiction. He's never going to make a movie like Inglourious Basterds. He's never going to make a movie like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You know what he's going to make? Some fun, fucked up shit.
Shout out to the big cat.
Meow.
Wait, what's the next movie, Jake?
Oh, yeah, Jake, what are we watching next? It's probably like Driving Miss Daisy or something.
No, dude, it was going to be, I want to do X, but I'm not sure if you guys are going to be pushing back on that because
I'm not paying $20 for that movie, dude.
Or it's $6 to rent.
I don't want to rent it. I want to buy it. I saw it twice in theaters already.
Well, then pay $20.
Then you've seen it.
No. Yeah, I don't. I'm not gonna not watch it though.
Then I'll give you $6.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right.
Then,
but you got to give it to me. You got to give it to me before I watch it. Otherwise, I'm not doing it.
All right, unblock me on Venmo, then you scumbag.
Ooh, the plot thickens. I'm already unblocked, so go ahead.
And I'll pay your $6 too, Anthony.
We're gonna watch X. I'm happy about that actually.
See, X is another one that's like horror,
like,
sexual.
Exactly. You like X, but you don't like this. Like, what is that's crazy?
I don't want to.
Yeah, don't say. Yeah, I don't want to hear it. I don't even know how to spell it yet. So
let's wait for that conversation.
I don't want any kind of. I don't even want to know if you like it.
That'll be a great conversation. Actually, I'd like to hear the reasoning.
This is almost like shit. This is almost a good answer to that. This X is almost a good answer to this movie, but
it is.
It was a movie I've been wanting to do anyway. So
X B's nuts.
Yeah.
Is Danny Trejo in X?
No, I don't believe he is. Ty West is the director. 2022. X. Watch it.
Watch us on YouTube.
Oh yeah, that's
which is probably.